So right now, what you see on the screen is your TIA portal. I'm sure all of our customers, most of our customers are absolutely familiar with TIA portal. What you see on the right is the Eigen Engineering Agent. Yes, it's really user-friendly, it's a simple to use chatbot style, but the power of that is, for example, what you see here is all your documents, right? So for every project, you could have one or more documents. All of these documents, you as the user upload it to Eigen. The documents is only available to you as the user. So there is no taking Chitra's document and giving it to Rahana. None of that matters, right? So it is completely segregated by user, and you as a user can control what documents get added to a project. Very typical to you handing over your documents, go to the junior engineer and say, hey, go figure this one out. This is your project. So you could do that. You could then upload it to, you could simply say, okay, I want to upload these documents into using my project. You could pick the project and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now it says, okay, these are the projects that I have tied to, one or more projects. Then you go back in, and this is where you say, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new conversation. So this is essentially, you could go in here and you can say, hey, I'm going to create a welding station chat. Okay, so I put this back on. Then I say, okay, all right. Can you give me a summary of this project? Did I get that right? Oh yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm just gonna, just in case, I'm gonna copy this. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do when you create a new conversation is to bind that project to that conversation. And that happens here. So you'd go in here, you'd say, okay, what are the projects that's available? Thomas, where is that project? All right, so you select the project, okay, and now that's all good. And as you can see, what it is doing, it's calling the tool. So like I said earlier, it has a number of tools that we've developed. It calls the tools, it goes and says, okay, list the project, okay, this is the project. Give me a list of the blocks that are in the project, and then it starts to process the project, and it gives you back essentially a summary of what the project is, right? And as you can see, the number of tools increases because it's starting to reflect on the question and says, okay, just calling the project and just getting the blocks is not going to be enough for what he's asked me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other tools that I have access to, and it's going through that. And what it will come back with is essentially a summary of what this project is. So here is another example, right? So in the real world, you see a senior automation engineer sit down, hires a junior guy and say, hey, go read up on this project. Today, the junior guy has to go into TIA Portal and click through every one of the blocks, every one of the controllers to understand, okay, what does it really do? They have to read code or look at the comments. Summarizing it. Today, Eigen can do the same thing, but actually summarizes it and essentially gives you a document for you to just read through it. Now you're bringing up your junior automation engineer up to speed in a matter of hours instead of assigning them out for this for a week or so. So that's a key difference for you here. So the cost is about it's 149 euros a month license. It's a 1-year commit, first month free. Assume in Germany, let's say, very conservatively, $30, 30 euros an hour, super conservative. I don't think anybody is really doing automation engineering work for 30. That's 5 hours. If you can get 5 hours of a benefit out of this in a month, you're already ROI positive, right? And that is at a conservative rate. In the US, you're probably looking at $60, $70 an hour, 2 hours. And that is the key differentiator or the key ROI benefit that customers can see from this. On the left, what you see is a representation of the TIA Portal. TIA Portal has an API layer called the Openness API. And what Eigen does is it taps into the Openness API, and what you see here is the true agentic implementation. the user's query comes in from the machine that has both the TIA Portal and the Eigen Agent installed. It comes into Eigen, the user query comes in, it looks at the user query, and I'll show you that real quick. It plans for what the task is, it takes it in, it calls multiple tools depending on what your prompt is, because we've got a catalog of tools, and the query will determine what tools get called and what don't. It creates, so using the tools, it goes ahead and creates or acts on your prompt. It then reflects on the prompt, as in, hey, Chitra asked me to do this. Is this, I've done this, but is this what it is really? It checks it, and if the result is not okay, it's going to go back and say, you know what, yep, I understand, she asked me to do this, but I did this instead, I need to go correct it. It goes and maybe it calls a different tool. It comes back in, it reflects, everything checks out, results okay, it sends it in the response. And this is where it is powered by the large language model. Is essentially this specific agent calling the power of large language models and sending it back into, through the Openness API to the TIA Portal, right? And here are some highlights. So obviously use natural language for prompts, as simple as, hey, go create a welding station for me, like I said earlier, the welding controller for me. You can upload your company-specific documents, your style guides, your HMI screen designs, your guardrails that you may have for the organization. Let's say you work for a machine builder, and let's say the machine builder's customer, who's a large automotive manufacturer, they absolutely have their guidelines. You have to comply with their guidelines, otherwise you're getting your code right back, and that's not a good thing. You're not winning the next contract. So you upload the documentation that you have received from the automotive manufacturer, you upload it. Eigen will make sure your code complies with any of the documentation or any of the guidelines that you uploaded. This is another big one, which is a contextual understanding of the project. Like we spoke earlier, really any large language model can write, as you rightfully said, any large language model can write PLC code for you, but this is a key difference where it tightly integrates with it. It takes in the project, it understands the project, and any question you ask after that, it'll answer in the context of the project. And then, of course, full data privacy, and it is cloud. We use a few different hyperscalers behind the scenes to be able to support our customers. So, and fully GDPR compliant, because any European customer's data would be processed in Europe. So we are fully GDPR compliant. So that's at a super high level how Eigen Engineering Agent works.